You're listening to Style as Identity.
Yes, we're your hosts. I'm Frankie Aquazum.
And I'm Lola Quintero. So, is starting a brand on your vision board?
Or do you just love fashion and want us to talk nerdy to you?
Either way, we got you.
Join us as we get into aspects of the trade that you might not find online. We're uncovering truths from the founders and designers daring to build within their vision and values.
These brands, they're shifting our understanding of the style status quo. And the more time we spend with them, the more we expect from what we wear and the brands that sell them.
So, we're glad you're here.
Let's do this. Brazilian born and based brand Dendezeiro represents founders Hisan Silva and Pedro Batalha's exploration of their family roots and used to redefine the narrative of the Brazilian backlands. Using this incredibly meticulous tailoring and drawing on Brazilian fashion, language, culture, and identity to break stereotypes and represent Brazil from their lens. Today we sit with Hisan Silva, acknowledged as one of Hypebeast's Next 100 and Forbes 30 Under 30. Hello. Hi, Hisan.
Hi, oh my God, so nice to meet you. I love this intro. So dead on point. So thank you so much for having me.
We are so excited that you're here. Muito prazer.
Oh, yeah. Come on, Brazilian.
You want to start with the insanely rich cultural narratives that inspire your collections. So you explore a lot of cultural roots from the Bahia region, and you excavate and tell stories of both resistance and transformation. So your collection, Brasiliano and Filhos do Sol, draws deeply from Brazilian sertão's heritage. Like, are there specific stories and traditions from the region that you're from that influence your designs?
The thing about our design is that we are always looking what we have around us, because that is the joy, the very powerful thing. Because I think the more powerful thing in fashion is that we can tell a story in our own way. And I love to tell our story because, especially being a person from Bahia, that people don't used to see us as a fashion powerhouse. They used to see us as a fashion powerhouse, but now we are trying to change the narrative. But the thing is, we love to tell stories, and we are always looking for our stories in else. And my grandma was from Sertão. The story we was telling in our last collection, Brasiliano, Filhos do Sol, was about that time when my grandma was living in Sertão. I think it's so special because it's our story, you know? I'm bringing the one-way show to São Paulo. I'm showing the world everything. I love talking about the culture. I love what Dendezeiro brings to Brazil and to the world, because when Dendezeiro was born, was just to tell the world we are here, tell our story in our own way. We are always thinking about how can we bring our story, how can we bring a culture, how can we bring a way to do fashion to the world. And we discovered that the best way to show the world how powerful we are is telling the world our own story, not trying to fit in how everyone else is doing fashion. It's like we have to do fashion in our own way to tell the world how we do things here. That's funny because people usually don't like to tell our own story. People don't used to like to look to the past, especially here in Brazil, because we have a lot of painful stories, but a lot of great stories too, a lot of struggle stories, but we have a lot of stories that show how powerful we are.
I love that. Has your grandmother seen the collection?
Yes, she loves. I sent her some message before. I was talking to her before asking about things, because in the collection we are talking about sertão and the way that how people look, how people dress, how people live, and how people perform themselves is powerful. So when she saw this, she was like, I remember that. I see that. I know what that means. Because She don't live in Sertão anymore, but half of my family is still there. It's great. Everyone's great. It's happy. Everyone figured out their lives. In the collection, we are trying to pick some things from the past, the dress way, and the dressing way, in the clothes. We are picking some things from the past and changing, doing my our own vision to put in how the world works now and how people can use this. So when she saw those things and the references, she was like, I remember that. I know what that means. And she was so happy because we are sharing our best. We are taking the things that could be a struggle or something difficult and transforming into something good and something happy. And then we are remembering the force, the power that my grandma had and transforming this in fashion. So that's power.
That is power. Staying on this topic of inspirational sources like your grandmother, you've also mentioned literary works like Vidas Secas, translated in English to Dry Lives or Barren Lives, written by Brazilian writer Graciliano Ramos, a story that follows a family of five. And how do narratives like that shape the themes and aesthetics of your collections?
Oh, in the aesthetics, a lot of things because a lot of the images that we use in a collection, it's based by the specific time, the era. But one thing that is more powerful and that changes everything is because the story about Vidas Secas is the people that had to leave the area to be happy, to have food, to have water, to have a job, to live. And we have a different context now because people can stay in their own places to be happy. You can stay there. I can stay in Salvador and build a brand that the whole world can watch, that you guys can meet, and everyone can touch it. But I don't have to leave Salvador to make that work. We pick Vidas Secas because that's the way to show our country and the whole world that we are not locked in the past. We have a lot another things to say. We have another ways to live. We discover how to live, how to not just survive, but live in a good way. We are doing a fashion show. It's a brand from two guys that came from the area and presenting in the biggest runway from Latin America, in the biggest stage from Latin America, a collection that is inspired by a past. So we are answering that. We are saying that we are powerful. We change the story. We have another narrative, and that's important.
Something that I can see both in like how your grandmother responded to the collection that was based on her story, and then how people who also share the culture and also grew up in Sertão, like it seems like you're not only changing how the rest of the world sees that history and that experience, but also how people see it for themselves. Because I think oftentimes we look at things that happen to us that were a mix of not so great things and great things, and the not so great things like tend to overshadow or like tend to come out louder. You're almost like giving people a reason to celebrate their past and like see it differently for themselves, not just of how other people see it, which I think is really cool.
Yes, that's the thing, because our story is not just pain. We have a lot of other things. The thing about Brazil is that, especially talking about Sertão, we have a lot of things that in your culture that build the Brazil that we have today. But the story that people are talking is the painful part. But we have another part, another story to tell. And that's the thing. We are going back, bringing our past to show the world our present and show the world the power that we have for the future. So Vida Secret is so important to tell this because it talk about a specific time. And my grandma is so important to us to see this. You had another experience a couple years ago, but now we can do things different. My grandma is a lovely person. I love her. She's so inspiring. She's like my mother. But in the beginning, when I was building the brand, she was so worried about how my future would be because when she came from the Sertão, the only story, the only narrative people could have was like manufacturing work for someone else. There's not a story about people working for themselves and building a company, building a fashion brand, doing luxury. It's like was so different to her. So showing her that it's possible is one of the biggest presents that we have because she can see that we can use our story, we can use our past, we can use struggle, the pain, but the force and the everything we build, the culture and everything else to build something powerful for the future, and that's that change everything.
Well, damn.
Hearing you talk about this, you know what I'm noticing too is we interviewed a few brands recently in the US that maybe went to New York to learn something and then went home to Chicago or LA or wherever to grow and develop their brands from their home. And I think 20, 30 years ago, we were only given this idea that brands came from London or Paris and New York. And the reality is that was never the case. There was always brands and fashion from all areas of the world, and now we get to, have the gift of being able to find each other and connect and learn from each other and be able to create in our homes and home countries, and I think that's, like, super energizing and inspiring to be able to experience that.
Yes, and the thing about fashion is that fashion is a language. So everyone have a language. Everyone speak. Everyone knows what they want to say. But a couple people say what's fashion and what is not. And that's the thing that we are changing. That is not you who says what is fashion and what is not, because I have my own language. I know what I want to say. I know what I want to speak. We have a lot of technical stuff to improve and to put in the conversation. But everyone is trying to do their own thing the way that people can and the way that people knows. So we cannot say that it's not fashion. We have the power to say what I'm wearing is fashion. I know it's just this. I know, but it's fashion because that's my own way to speak.
Yeah. And this comes through a lot because you recognize that people other than you and Pedro have a vision too, because you have like this initiative called Denji Game, where you like engage people in the design process and the creative process. And like in my mind, that's you recognizing that everyone has the language of fashion in them. So how does Denji Game influence your creative direction and like the final pieces that you end up creating?
Oh my God. The Game is actually one of my favorite projects that we ever had because I love to see what people have to say. I love this because we don't know what people have in their own mind. We open text box in the Instagram and react people to say what they have in their mind, that different things that could turn into fashion, into bags, into clothes, into anything. And people go there and say a lot of different stuff. It's like mirror, fish, hug, the smile. I mean, a lot of things. And we pick some of those things to create something. So we pick filtro de barro, that is technology here in Brazil to clean water. So we picked this filtro de barro to become one of the bags that we were building, and was a huge success. We launched this in 1 year ago, and it's still selling. People still loving. We have this on our flagship, and people still in love with this. It's amazing because we had 7 days to build this product. So people go to the text box, say the things they imagine. We pick one of those things. Then we have 7 days to build the product. And the seventh day, we launch in the internet so people see what we build. And it was like crazy. It was like a sensation.
Why 7 days?
Yeah, was that just to like make it like more challenging?
Yes, to make it quick, we were challenging the audience, but we was challenging ourselves to do something quick, amazing, and then great. So we're so good because you work so well with our imagination, with our techniques, with the way we see fashion, the way we can look for we have around us. but it was so nice to be close to the public because I mean 7 days was like people sending us messages like every day and being crazy about what we're gonna have next week, what we're gonna have next week, what we're gonna have next month. So it was a so fun game. We was trying to get this game back this year because we have a collection, one-way show at April 10th, and we was trying to bring the game back before the fashion show because we wanted so bad to bring those stuff to the show, but I don't think we're gonna be able to do that because today is the April 12th. So we don't have enough time to
Real
do that.
talk.
But it's so fun. We had a lot of fun doing this. We're gonna bring the game back this year. I don't know, it's one of my favorite project we ever built.
So you have a piece that is I'm gonna be purchasing, but it's like a crop top when it has hands like this.
Yes, that is the hug.
That's the hug. Oh,
That's the hug. That's the hug.
yes, fantastic. For everyone listening, go onto the website because it's like a bandeau, strapless crop toppy thing. Is it denim or just like a light blue celeste sort of
It's denim.
denim? And it just goes across your chest, and it's oh my god, it's so cute.
We had a bag too. We have a bag. We have the top and we have the bag that cross the shoulder with the two hands cross here.
The whole look.
Yes. Yes. And the hug was like we was doing a lot of material stuff. It's like filtro de barro, mirror, and other stuffs. And Discman. And we was like, okay, we need to do something that is different than all of the stuff because we are starting to be being comfortable with the game. And we're like, okay, a different thing, hug. So we use a thing that we cannot touch to transform this in fashion, and it was so fun. People love this a lot. Was so happy to bring this to the project.
That's how you use Instagram. That's how you do it.
Yes. We all kind of imagine things, at least I do all the time. I'll imagine something that I wish I could find in fashion, and I look online and sometimes it doesn't exist. And so I feel like you gave everyone that experience of like being able to imagine something and then quickly see it actually exist, like shortly after. That's really special.
Just
Yeah.
give the power to the public, give the power to
Yes.
people. Because as a fashion brand, I don't think we have the exact power to determine what is fashion and what is not. We show our creativity and we show what we see around us, but it's so great to see what people have in their mind. Is like it's huge. People are crazy.
Yeah. And they should be crazier in a good way.
Yes.
You're looking at it and going, "Why not? Let's do it."
Yeah, why not? Exactly.
Yes, being crazy with it. And I think Instagram is for that to connect. When I saw those Instagram that people just talking and talking and talking and talking and never open the space to be close to the people. It's like with how the social media was built, especially Instagram, sometimes I feel like is a social media to not bring the people together, just to see the people like so far away being having the perfect life. But I don't think that we need to stick to it and build the social media like that. We can do something different. So that was one of the most powerful moments for us in social media that we had, not only being close to a public, but being close to a lot of people. The press was crazy that time. It's like the press was like waiting what we're gonna bring in the Sundays because we used to launch the Sundays and to see what we had to bring this to the press. So people was talking like crazy in the Twitter and the X. The X was like so fun to see people like famous singers from Brazil was like being crazy and saying, "Oh my God, I need this. Next week I wanna see another crazy stuff." So it was so nice. It was so happy to have this.
Okay, I have a business question about this that I'm very interested. When you would drop a piece from this game, like the hug shirt or whatever. Did those pieces drive a lot of sales? Or when you dropped it on the site, you noticed it lifted purchases across the website because then people were shopping? Like, how did this campaign affect your bottom line?
Oh, that is an amazing question because then the game was built close in a time that we had financial struggles. So we was redefining the brand and see what we had and seeing what we built and looking everywhere else. And the most important part is that we build this because we want to be close to a public, but to notice what people want to wear, what people wants to see. And when we launched the game, in the first week that we had this, we launched this and we put this on our website, and we see a lot of people buying our stuff, not only the game, but seeing the other stuff that we have. And it was a movement that encouraged people to show their craziness. So people start to forget the fear to wear something different. So when the people saw the movement, the Dende Game movement, they saw in our website, a place that they can be free to. So we start to sell a lot of stuff at the time. So a couple in the games, we don't even launch to sell, but only we launch in the internet and people was like, oh my God, yes, and went to the website and saw other stuff and start to buying because the process in the game encourage people to wear and to be free to use different colors. The game was a game that encouraged people to try.
I think this is one of the most sophisticated marketing fashion campaigns I've seen ever, because you're talking about this engaging community on Instagram in the most authentic way that asks them for what's in their heart and imagination, and then bringing it to life quickly, responding, saying, I heard you, let's have some fun. Other people seeing that and feeling like, oh, this isn't just a brand creating something. Will anyone else wear it? Will I be weird for like being so crazy in my outfit? But seeing like we're all a little crazy and building something beautiful. And then not only does it drive press, but it drives sales for those items. It lifts your whole website up, and it's all based in authenticity. It like people are always asking, how do I use Instagram to whatever? And, a lot of times these like top of funnel or awareness campaigns might build a following, but they don't translate to sales. And this does all of it. And most importantly, stays true to you. And it comes from the truth of your customer.
I'll also add too, I agree that you brand loyalty too, because I think a lot of people try to buy loyalty, and you just explained like how Dent Game like helps people to be free. That's something that anyone in your life who does something like that for you, you then are like, that's someone I want to keep around. And so just doing something as a brand that I think people expect just more from like human to human connection and doing it via social media, super smart. And again, we're saying this like it's smart, but it's clear that you did it for the right reasons. Like you weren't trying to be smart. It wasn't like an angle, but it like really works.
Yes, if people feel like they are part from Dendezeiro, they're like creative directors too. So it's fun. It's fun. I'm telling you, we had a lot of fun. It's like when we tell people, okay, we choose this, it was like 1 week, people going crazy trying to figure it out how we turn a mirror into a bag. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with people every day sending us message and talking in the social media like, I'm waiting for this. I'm waiting for this weekend. I'm anxious and I'm having anxiety because I need to see what they're gonna bring. We had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun.
This is like real hype.
Yeah. Okay, the last thing I'll say that's so strong about this is sometimes brands do this, but kind of in a way where they're not asking the consumer for only the idea, but also the labor of it. They're like, create a little collection and let's see what y'all have. But you didn't do that. You said, have fun with this idea and we'll do the work.
We've been talking a lot about like perception and how people feel. Like you said something like because of then the game, like people kind of started forgetting the fear of wearing something different. And that's something that you try to do with Dendezeiro overall. And so we noticed that your work, like what you and Pedro work on, like aim to kind of redefine some of the perceptions of Brazilian fashion and culture. Like there's this label where people say Brega. And we were talking about it earlier, and you were like, usually it's something that people think it's like corny. It's like a thing of the past. It's not relevant anymore. But obviously, I want you to say more about this. But how do you feel about that term? And how do you think about it in relation to Brazilian fashion? And then also, like, when you're thinking about bringing together the past and the present, like you've said, and the future, how does that term come up in your mind?
Yes, it's so complex about talking about Brega because Brega para me is so important because it's us talking about our story and talking about where we came from and our day. Because Brega here in Brazil is something that we used to see every time, but we don't like it or something corny or something that people don't think that fits. But what is corny? That's a big question. What is corny? Because being political, Brazil was seen as a third world country. So when we have Europe saying that the Brazil is a third world country and launching a lot of fashion and stuff, people in Brazil became to think that all stuff are corny. Everything we launch is corny, but everything that Europe launched it's great, it's amazing. So what we do as a Brazilian brand is start to assume the corny stuff, the brega stuff, to say this is not brega, this is us, this is our story. So I love to work with our story that I'm telling this them all the time. I love to tell the world our story. That's the thing that makes Viola Davis crazy about our brand. That's the thing that make a lot of American celebrities crazy about our stuff in the internet because we are talking about our story. We are not trying to be Americans. We are not trying to be Europeans. We are showing how powerful Brazil are, how powerful we are, how powerful our culture are. So our culture is not corny. So if being Brazilian, it's brega, we're gonna be corny, we're gonna be brega. The Brazilian t-shirt, the colors was corny to the people. It's like, oh my God, no, why? But we had a movement here that no, it's not. It's our country. Have to be proud of that. So we start to use this, and we have a movement out there in the Europe and especially in Europe that people will start to use the Brazilian t-shirt. So we saw our powers like bring Brazilian, talk about story, talking about the colors, talking about us. It's not corny. Let's talk about us. So I love corny. I love brega. I love all those stuff. When we tell the people that we're gonna talk about sertão at our last show, it was like, oh my God, no, that's so corny. Because people used to saw sertão as a place that don't have nothing to bring. We show in the last show that we have a lot to bring. We have a lot to show. We have a lot of stuff. But we used to think that the piece that we put in the legs that we call here canelera, I wore this a couple months before the show and in a specific way because I was in the agriculture place, so I had to use this, and I was like taking pictures and think that the piece was like so amazing. And people was like, "Oh my God, this is so corny! Like, why?" And I don't want to see this in a one-way show, please. And I was like, "Okay, wait for me." So I put like 20 of those in the one-way show and people was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing! This is so fashion. I love this." Because guys, corny, brega, it is what it is. It's amazing. It's chic. So corny is chic now. We are sending this message.
I love it. Corny is chic. It is.
Reminds me of Frankie. We interviewed the Savant Studios. It's a brand out of Brooklyn. And we were talking about how fly people don't have to get fly. They're already fly. And I think it comes from this confidence in oneself and being able to showcase that through fashion. And that's what I'm hearing you talk about is this confidence and security and appreciation of wanting to showcase this. And you're like, I'm good.
Yes. That's a power inside us that only fashion can bring. And that's the thing about the leg piece. It's like something that people used to wear like every day, but people don't see this as a powerful piece to be fashion. And we show the world that it's different. We can do this. That's one of the things. We had a sandal, a leather sandal that people used to wear like every day in sertão. And people here in Brazil don't give those credits like, oh my God, this is the piece of fashion. And people was like, this is nothing, this is corny, I don't like this. And then Prada launched exactly same thing, Sandal. And it was like, oh my God, so expensive. I don't even remember the price because it was so expensive. And here in Brazil, we have this like, I don't know, a dime, you know? So so people here we start to look at this and like we start like, oh my God, this is fashion. We have this, we built this. This is one of the things like sometimes we used to see what we have like a powerful stuff when other people uses, but the other people uses, but they don't give us the credit. And with the movement we have now is looking for stuff and giving us selves the on credit about the stuff we build because it's powerful. Talking about Brazil is powerful. We had a lot of great designs that took the world, but people don't used to know that is ours.
Yeah. Growing up, my mom always said, she was like, if someone is calling you a name, it's because they don't really understand what you have to offer and they're going to see you that way, regardless of what you do. So you might as well embrace it and be yourself. And I feel like that's like this energy of like, okay, yeah, you're going to call us corny, but like, we're going to do this even more. Like, we're going to get it to the max and be who we are because at least that way, like, we are showing up how we want to show up.
Yeah. There's a person that is so is a big references for me, Rihanna, because she is not from the US. She's a Caribbean girl. And the thing about fashion now when we talk about Rihanna is like it's corny till Rihanna uses. So that's the thing because her references it's others. She had another references. She have a Caribbean references. She looking for the street references, and we see this when she go to fashion stuffs like Met Gala or anything else. So we see that it's not fashion or it's not corny. It's fashion, but um, we need to have the courage to use this and to say that this is me, this is who I am, and there's nothing awkward about this.
Yeah. Don't wait for permission from others. Yeah.
Yes,
Love it.
so I love Barney.
Your inspiration, it draws from your family, your homeland, from all of your customers and community, from Rihanna, from Graciliano Ramos, everywhere that is Brazil. And you are taking it and you are evolving it and telling your narrative and story. What legacy are you hoping to build with the brand? No pressure.
that, there's a lot of pressure. There's a huge cash question because legacy is something that we cannot see, we build. We cannot see. We actually don't know what legacy we leave in the world because, especially within the zero, I don't know how much impact we live in the people's hearts. And sometimes when we have those moments like in the game that we get close to the people, we see how far we go. We see how far people get impacted with art because people use it in the game plays to tell us how we love our brand, how they think what we done here is powerful, what we did and what we are doing is powerful. And now, one day ago, we just did one so special thing because we have this hat when they end college that we have this hat that people they used to throw this in the air So we have this hat here too. So people don't have this hat for different race of hair. So black hair, dreadlocks, and a lot of different hairs don't used to fit in those hats. And we launched a project last year that we have built 4 different designs and 4 different hats that fit in everyone's head. And that project went to a congresswoman build a law seeing this hat, and it was approved this week. And now our fashion brand have built a project that becomes a law here. So I was never imagining this. I was never imagining that one project. I never imagined that a work like this will become a law, will become something that in all universities people can have this hat now. So it's powerful, it's so different, and the legacy is something that I could never imagine how far it can go. Because the law, we're gonna be writing in the story forever. And I want to build a lot of new stuff that can be right in the history too. I want to see Brazil taking over the world as a fashion country, as a fashion powerhouse. That's one of the biggest things that I see in the future. I want to take Dendezeiro to the world and take a lot of new brands, the black owned brands, to take over the world, to take over everything else, the beauty artists, the models, and everything else. I want to see the world looking to Brazil and seeing the power that we have, the history that we have, because a lot of our history was stolen by the process of how Brazil was built. And now we are running out of time to take the history back and trying to change that, because our history is not just what others did with us. We have another history too. We have everything that we built, and that is the history that I want the world to see. I want the world to see how far and how great and how powerful we can build stuff. And that's the biggest thing. I don't know how we're gonna do that, because every day I think Dendezeiro surprises me with another opportunities and a lot of stuff. But I want to feel there. I wanna be in the sun, feel the sun in my face, having this feeling that my country is a part of the world. It's powerful. It's seen as a powerful powerhouse. And that's the moment that I will be like, okay, I can rest now. I can take some caipirinhas and be okay. Because I want this so bad.
I felt that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Izan.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to tell my story.
Hey everybody, Lola here. Thanks for listening. Style as Identity is part of the Majority Group, which is focused on spotlighting and supporting the brands that make us feel seen. In addition to this podcast, we offer business and strategy advice to brands, have an investment arm, and more. Basically, we want to see you win and do what we can to make it happen. For more info on us, head to themajoritygroup.com. Love ya.